some of these initiatives, but that was a congestion pricing is what they were looking for, and it's fine. They can do it in their financial district or something else, but when you start doing it to your neighbors, all we'll start seeing is San Mateo County will do the same thing, and probably at the end of the day should do the same thing if they were going forward with that, to say, why should we be losing that revenue? The other issue that is probably as important is the San Francisco local hire ordinance that they passed that will go into effect, I believe, in March, if it hasn't already. And that, that bill, in and of itself, if you've heard it, read it, it's not bad. It's, we want to protect our own, we want to hire locally, which is an admirable thing to do. The problem with this ordinance is it extends 70 miles outside of San Francisco, which applies to San Francisco International Airport, applies to San Francisco's County Jail in San Bruno, and more importantly to the Hetch Hetchy Water Project that we're all paying for as ratepayers into that system that goes 70 miles outside of the city. They will claim that it doesn't apply to those entities because the project labor agreement is in place, and this excludes that. The problem is the project labor agreements are being amended at the airport right now, and once they are amended or changed, then this local hire ordinance does take effect there. The ordinance goes on forever. These project labor agreements are temporary in some cases. So that's ridiculous, especially in light of the fact that there are the 9 Bay Area counties, 6 of them have higher unemployment than San Francisco has. So we're all struggling in the same way. And the pipe in San Bruno that ruptured, the gas in that pipe was going to San Francisco to serve them. As we all, I live close to the airport. The noise, I get awakened at 3 in the morning sometimes from the roar of a jet. We have the pollution, we have the noise, we have the traffic. But I think we're all willing to put up with that. We're all the little burdens, and they're difficult. But we're citizens of the Bay Area as much as we are citizens of Pacifica or San Mateo, as I look at. So I think that's also something that we have to kind of teach that to our neighbors, that level of regionalism. And so that's an issue. I have a bill, I introduced AB 356, and that bill will would not allow local hire ordinance to extend beyond the geographic boundaries of the city or county. And the second part is if state funds are used in a project, then that project can't be used for local hire. The problem that they have is that their local hire ordinance, the way it's written, of the 50%, which is the local hire requirement, 25% of the 50% has to be from the disadvantaged community. So if the disadvantaged community, and it does not require them to be of a level of skill in a craft or anything. Many contractors have told me that if they had to abide by this ordinance, they were required to hire 2 or 3 individuals. They would hire them, put them in a chair in the corner, say, don't move and don't touch anything. That's the problem that they have, because they're not skilled in a craft and they're afraid of of getting hurt. That's a problem, and that adds cost. The San Francisco financial analyst says that it will add $9 million a year to the construction and to the projects in San Francisco. As a taxpayer in California, I don't want my tax dollars going to subsidize that program in San Francisco. I'm not saying they don't need a program, not saying that the efforts and the thought behind it isn't it's good and that we should be doing that and training people to do the work, but let's do it intelligently. Let's not just try to find work that isn't appropriate or fit the skill level of the person that they're talking about. So those are 3 local issues that I've been working on. So it's a new day in Sacramento because of our governor, and it's an honest day, and I'm happy to be there, and I'm honored to represent all of you there. So thank you very much for letting me do that. Great. Any questions at all? For all of you, first one. I guess this is like the what is it in a press conference with the who used to do that? Helen Thomas. That's right.
Thank you. I thought this was your day, not mine. Anyways, the only thing is that I understand that what you said. There's one thing that nobody has ever touched on, and I know we've got a bunch of do-gooders and everything else like that, which I appreciate it. And to life this person had. You've got, how many people in death row in San Quentin? And they can't go forward because this here, and I've been to San Quentin many, many times. We used to put on shows there.
Well, I'm glad you qualified that.
Remember that cell number 1. Anyways, and I don't know, when you get a guy 20 years and 25 years on death row, I think that's worse punishment. Either that, let him go, and all of us move into St. You know, I don't understand it. And we get this, you can't, only God can take a life. Well, that guy took 5 or 6 lives, and there's another one here. And there's one that 1988 he's been in there, since 1988 or 86. And they say that they finally went through I don't know how many times, and now it's waiting for the Supreme Court, and then it'd probably be 2 or 3 more years. So he's going to die an old man there in prison.
No, and the issue, I think, is a broader question rather than just the death row. The death row is certainly one aspect of it, and that conversation, I think, should be had. And now that we're looking at, I think, things honestly, that's a good time to have that discussion. But I think the broader question is, what are we doing about correction reform? What are we doing about trying to reduce the $60,000, $70,000 a year per inmate that it costs in the state prison system when we're giving students $6,000, $7,000, if we're lucky to get $7,000. Not in Pacifica, but you get less than that, you take the 6. But I mean, that's outrageous to have that and to understand it. And the governor's budget did not include any or very little correction reform. We had in fact, I brought it up with the speaker last week. We have leadership meetings, and I brought it up in there that you know, how can we justify doing this, cutting this when we're leaving this alone? And so that conversation is moving forward. The budget that the Assembly and the Senate voted on yesterday, the budget committees voted on yesterday. The budget committee in the Assembly has a greater stake and took more money from corrections because of the need for that. So we're looking at that, and the death row conversation earlier.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing to that, excuse me. But the idea is, as they say, it's cheaper to keep a man in prison than it is that. It isn't. I mean, there are people in prison, some of those, it's costing better than $1 million a year for those people on death row because they keep going back to court and everything else like that. And then, I mean, you've got people that are suing the state because I know there was one guy up there when we were up there doing a show that had sued 6 or 7 times because he liked gum shoes. He didn't like the leather soles that they gave him on it. And another one up there, he wanted peanuts.